You're listening to a Lost in the Groove segment.
Having good vibes with your bones and joints. Taking a trip into the groove. American groove into stoner world. Gonna
Welcome to American Groove.
Welcome to American Groove. We start off talking about aliens found in Mexico. You were saying...
There's like a part at the end of the article where he's like, this was a huge step backwards. What is he talking about? How huge step backwards? Unfortunately, yesterday's demonstration was a huge step backwards. Why? Did that make any sense to you? I'm like, what are you referring to? Like, why is this a step backwards?
That is weird. Like, why on earth would that be a part of, like, the congressional hearing? I mean, if you're spending this amount of time and bringing the supposed quote-unquote evidence, you know what I mean? Let me see.
I can't tell what he's like. Hoping to keep up the momentum of the government interest in pilot experiences with unidentified anonymous phenomenon. I feel like the article itself is kind of like vague in lots of different ways. Like they just like lightly kind of tap on things, but don't really like explain what any of it means. Like there's a part where they say that they believe that the aliens don't have teeth and therefore they just have a liquid diet. I mean, how do you know they eat it all? You know, like, did we talk about like a stomach or like any way that they like absorb nutrients, or do they have a butthole?
Like, whoa! Oh my god! Now you're talking about.
I'm serious. I'm like, okay, like if you're gonna tell me that it doesn't eat, I'm like, does it only pee? Like, I don't know. You have to give me a little bit more than it doesn't have teeth, so it might have a liquid diet. I'm like, that is like a huge statement with absolutely no like explanation other than like doesn't have teeth. I'm like, they could be like infants, right? Maybe they don't have their teeth yet. Like, I don't really know. It's just so vague.
I asked, okay, so to just catch everybody, everybody knows what's going on because, hello, we're all addicted to our smartphones. You know, the whole thing that went on Twitter, this post of like these supposed alien bodies, and like the thing that I circle back to over and over and over and over again in my head is, why now? Why now when we had Lahaina in Hawaii was burned to the ground for unknown reasons? We have a war that's going on in Ukraine. We have a crisis, a housing crisis. We have literally a situation where we're about a bursting bubble. And then all of a sudden, 2023 comes rolling around. And bam, some scientists from Mexico says we find these two corpses and they're aliens and that this and that. I don't know about you, honey, but I smell horse shit.
It also says that the alien bodies were discovered in 2017.
Then why are they being exploited now? This time, after Lahaina, during the Ukrainian war, and during the crisis here in this country. Why now? You know, it's kind of like...
They also said that in the article, it says that the bodies were manipulated.
How the fuck are they supposed to know this shit? Like...
How can you tell
I don't know,
like that they're manipulated or not? Like, and what does that mean? I think that the only thing that's like direct and clear here is they say like, we are not alone, you know, like, and it's like, well,
no shit.
How do you know that they're not the only two aliens and they died now? That would make us alone.
Maybe they were the last aliens ever.
Last aliens ever. And they claim that one of the aliens was pregnant. So at that point, they're mammal type, and they grow the baby inside of the body. So that implies that one is male and one is female, I think, is what they're trying to imply, which makes them a lot more like us than we assumed. I mean, I feel like it's a huge assumption to think that they have genders like we do and that they grow babies inside of a tummy like we do. Yeah, I'd like to know how that baby grows off of a liquid diet completely.
My favorite shit about this whole thing was the meme of somebody was like, reveal of alien, and it's just like them splitting open the alien, but it's a cake.
I saw the cake thing.
I was
yeah.
like, this is so, like, that could totally be cake. I mean, you get like Side Surfer cakes. I don't know if you've like seen like the one with the green. She makes all like these crazy things, like, you know, like a shoe and a hamburger and stuff. It's like, bro, they could have just made like realistic cake versions of aliens and be like, ooh, ooh, Carissa, ooh.
Ooh, Halloween time.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Interesting, right?
I'm suspicious of the entire thing coming out of Mexico. I'm like,
that's not the part that bothers me. What bothers me is, again, why, you see, people, we don't understand this until like maybe in the future, maybe a few years as time goes on, why things happen the way that they did. Like, you want to take a great example? Think of dial-up, okay? We went from using telephone lines for internet to now you can transmit like hundreds of gigabytes of data in a matter of minutes. And that's like 10 or 15 years.
You're saying how much things change. Yeah. Also in the article, they said that the aliens are possibly 1,000 years old. They never say how they were dug up, how they were found.
Nope.
Nothing
no
at
mention.
all. So it's like, you know, where were they sitting for until 2017?
Yeah.
And then where were they sitting since 2017? And
by the way, every single article you read, because I gave you the one from NPR, there's other ones too, they all have this interesting dynamic where they all are saying the exact same story, word for word. Here, you want me to give you an example? Here, this was NPR.
Really? Like,
hold on. This is from Reuters.
What is that?
Oh, they're another bullshit, garbage, like Washington Post.
Oh, my favorite. Yeah.
Yummy. Lawmakers heard testimony that we are not alone. Did you hear that phrase? We're not alone.
I know. They really want to say that a lot.
In the universe until the alleged remains of non-human beings, an extraordinary hearing marking the Latin American country's first congressional event on UFOs. Wait, I could keep on going with this. This is from Forbes. I'll keep on going. I'm ready for this, honey. Small mummified corpses which had elongated heads, 3 fingers, word for word, just like NPR. Yeah, here, I'll go back to NPR. You remember where it was on, like, kind of towards the end where it says 3 fingers, large eyes? US
Does
Today.
that imply that there's no thumb? It's just fingers?
Why
or is one of them a thumb?
Why are all these stories sound the same? Why do they all sound the same? It's like it's if there was one writer that gave this story to a bunch of different places and is like, here, I want you to put this out into the mainstream media. Like, I'm not an alien denier. Like, I understand that, like, there's billions of planets and there's so many possibilities. But something about this just stinks. It stinks. I mean, like, articles sounding the same. Just, where the fuck did this come from? Why did you wait till 2017? How do you know it's pregnant? Like, how do you know it drinks? Like, we know how we do testing on mammals. You know how we do testing on mammals? Like woolly mammoths and things like this? They do DNA samples. They do they do side-by-side comparisons. So they'll look at similar charts from, let's just say, like an elephant. Because an elephant and a woolly mammoth, they kind of share very similar genetic DNA. And they'll look at their patterns, the way they took care of their packs, the way that they gathered food. But our knowledge of woolly mammoths has taken years to understand, you know, there's similarities and there are differences to elephants. All of a sudden, these people are coming out of nowhere. We have no idea where these aliens come from. They're 1,000 years old, and one of them is pregnant. What?
They have 3 fingers, a liquid diet. Yeah, I don't believe a damn part of it.
Nope,
honestly.
I don't believe it.
I'm not denying that there could be some aliens, but like,
for sure.
I mean, what if they lost their teeth? Our teeth fall out. We lose our teeth. Like, the thing is, like, I feel like if people are going to write realistic articles, they're not going to put anything in there until they know that it is a fact, you know, like, and that would take like research and studying and stuff like that. So like, yeah, the fact that it's been like blasted on every single news thing, like, you know, this is why I don't watch the news. I had never heard about this whole little aliens with 3 fingers found in Mexico until you showed it to me today. And I'd seen the joke about it being like a piece of cake and like, you know, but like I was just like, okay, like whatever, there's funny stuff going on with aliens again. But I don't pay attention to the news. I don't read it. I don't watch it. I avoid it because I know that they're just trying to manipulate me. And so I kind of more just like watch people and see what it is that, you know, they've decided to manipulate everyone with. I think it's strange that they use the word manipulation in the article itself, but then don't really say like what is manipulated, like at all. Like, okay, something was manipulated, but what? Like, gross. Like, honestly, gross. The whole thing is just gross. Like, we all know that we have real actual scientists that do real studies, and nothing was really like done or published by anybody of like any intelligence. So this has got government written all over it too. So like, fuck that. Like,
I was talking the other night while I was working my shift. A friend of mine that I know, and one of the gals that I was working with, she was mentioning to him about light theory. You know, and the just incredible research that scientists have found about the power of light and how it affects your mood, your feeling, your vibe. And she was talking about like Himalayan rocks and how, you know, people have this insanity. This is crazy. That they're like, Himalayan salt is like the shit. Okay, I'm gonna burst like some people's balls. A lot of that is complete bullshit. Here's the reality about Himalayan salt. Yes, if you put a light bulb inside of it and there's light that comes out of it, it's going to make you happy because of the color that comes out of it. The yellows and the tones that interact with your eyes and your mind and how you interact with it. That's all fact. The salt that comes from Himalayan salt is going to be a lot purer if you know where you're getting it from, because of how it's mined, if you know the sources. It's a little bit easier with Himalayan compared to like Mediterranean ocean salts. But in the end of the day, there's all of these promises. There are all of these health and remedy and the this and the... But do people actually ever do the real research, like the actual grind to like think, oh, it's not the actual salt that's making me happy. It's a light that's protruding through the salt that's making you happy.
What light just makes people happy? I think like
it's the same thing with
some type of balance, right?
It's the same thing with crystals. It's the same thing with crystals. Okay, people have this thing with healing crystals. The reason why crystals people have this thing, and they did studies on this. I had somebody that sent me a video about this the other day. Light, when it interacts with our eyes, has a way of interacting and mixing around with our chemicals in our brains. They know this because they've done scans of this. So blue light has a certain effect on your brain pattern.
Yeah.
Right? You know, red light has a certain effect. These are all proven things. And again, this is because we have research. There are articles upon articles and different studies and things that people have tried to do about this. But aliens, we don't know a fucking thing about aliens. We've never seen. I mean, supposedly there's UAPs and UFO, whatever you want to call them. But like, we're all about the artist. That is the whole purpose of this podcast. Period. And you have a really valuable tool. You can share this with artists, people that are creative, someone that can enjoy this podcast and really enjoy the experience of Lost in the Groove. So, with that, let's jump back to today's episode, shall we? There's never been, realistically, an alien body that has been fully testified that we know publicly, that is legit and real. How are they getting all of this? It's just, the more I think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Sorry.
No, I think that you're correct, and I feel and I hear the passion in your voice when you talk about it, and I think that the reason why you get kind of heated about it is because, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost offensive to be tried to be fooled. You know, like it gets kind of irritating, like to expose people to something that is honestly a big deal, but not give them any actual type of explanation. Like it's upsetting, you know? Like
It's like
it
January.
feels like somebody
It's
just
like,
screwing with you, and
it's
it's
like
upsetting.
it's like January 6th all over again. I mean, I remember when January 6th took place. I remember what happened afterward. It's just like, you know, maybe it's as you get older, you become more wise. But I think that now, with a lot of what all of us have experienced and what we've seen, I would love to see the existence and the experience of extraterrestrial life being real and for us to discover that. I think that would be incredible, and I think it would be really fascinating. But the amount of times we as the public have been lied to by the media over and over and over again, it's tiring. And it's about time somebody cracks the lid, like they did with Lahaina. You know how many people got up, like especially the people that were in Hawaii, that were talking about what was going on? I sent you a bunch of those videos, like people really breaking down what is actually going on. And like you read all of these articles and you're like, what? What do you mean they had no choice but not to sound the alarms? What are you talking about? They said, you can see in the manuscripts that it clearly states the alarm, that the siren should go off no matter disaster, including fires. It's as if they don't realize, we know you're lying. We know you're lying. So stop.
Do you think that like there's a possibility that they don't want us to trust our media?
Possibly.
I
But
mean, I don't know, but I know that it's all for no good. You know, and I also think like it's been blasted all over like X, formerly known as Twitter.
it's Twitter.
And
Don't give me that shit about fucking X. It's Twitter. I'm sorry.
that is what it's called.
It's
but
Twitter. It's Twitter. No, it's Twitter. Yeah, go on. I'm listening.
I mean, I don't care either way. I don't have one. I've got a dog that wants to share his opinion.
He definitely has opinion about Twitter. That's
What?
Louis' opinion is woof, 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 woof. Woof,
I don't know. I just,
yes.
if it didn't, if they've, do you think that maybe they're trying to make us think like aliens have been around forever, therefore there is nothing to fear? Like that's kind of what I think is like they're trying to make us
I like where
not
you're going with this.
afraid of the alien. Like I don't know, because like that's kind of what has happened is like hey, the alien's been around forever and nothing has happened anyways, like, you know, so basically if an alien does ever show up, none of us are really going to be afraid of it anymore, because like nobody is reacting to it right now, and people found it in 2017 and it didn't make a difference. And like I don't know, I feel like it's a big letdown, because like our whole lives we like, you know, thought like, oh man, there's got to be aliens out there, like we know it, you know, and then we find out about it and it's like we don't get any real answers, we don't get to know anything about their intelligence level. Like
have
nothing.
you ever watched like I was watching one because I heard it from the Joe Rogan podcast. It's called Chimp Empire. There's a couple of others from National Geographic where you have these group of cinematographers and filmmakers. They go out to these research areas like Ngogo chimps or places in Africa or, in Asia. And they go and they study apes or they go study these animals. And they're observing their life and how they live and how they work as a pack. You ever think you have a highly advanced, sophisticated species like extraterrestrial life? They see Earth and they observe our planet. You think that a bear knows that it's being observed? I think a bear can understand that it's being observed. It may understand that there's something there, but
I think it's obvious that most animals would know if they're being watched. I don't know that they understand the concept of observed.
Exactly.
But they can tell if somebody's looking at them. They can tell if somebody's around.
Exactly. But they don't. But what you said though is they don't understand. So what I'm trying to say.
So you think you're trying to say that as human beings we wouldn't know if we're being observed?
Correct. And that is I think that is the harsh reality that movies and television doesn't want to tell us, is that we've talked immensely on this podcast about extraterrestrial life. You have to understand that the chances of another species, another humanoid species existing like ours, it's possible, but look at how we were created. I mean, for God's sakes, we, over a period of 2 million years, dominated and wiped out every single species of human that has ever existed. We as Homo sapiens wiped them all off the map. What the fuck? What the hell happened? What the hell happened that we went from, premature ape-like creatures, and then all of a sudden Homo sapiens come along and they're like, all right, we're going to build, we're going to hunt, we're going to do all this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't believe in evolution.
You can definitely say that. Maybe
I wasn't there. How the hell am I supposed to know? Honestly,
it's all speculation. But
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't believe it because, I don't honestly think one way or the other, and I don't really think that it has anything to do with me and my regular everyday life. That
wasn't my main focus. My focus was on the fact of our very existence, whether you want to call it a miracle or a creation of God or a creation of the universe, happened because of specific reasons. Because that was the path that was put forth. So to take our physics, to take our beliefs as human beings and apply that on another planet billions of light years away is stupid. And it's stupid for us to try to understand what extraterrestrial life can be, because we can only understand what we are. How could we understand something that exists in a completely different galaxy, completely different planet, made out of completely different elements, water developed and created completely different life over there? We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, understanding is quite a thing to accomplish. Understanding means you have an understanding of it all. It's got to start with, we said, questions, observations.
Right.
Yes. I mean, we definitely don't have any type of understanding of what's going on. But yeah, there's just that question of why tell us now if it's been around forever? I don't know the purpose of it, obviously. They don't, when you look at that picture, we just get one photo. Okay, that's it. Where is the picture of the fingers?
I believe,
where's all the other photos? We're in the age of technology where there's freaking photos of everything.
There's if you check, I believe there's a video of it. But it's kind of interesting in how we were kind of talking about this earlier, and it's kind of funny that we've been talking about aliens for 25 minutes. I love this. But this is something that I love doing with you, and I always, it's such a great way when you're having a conversation, just looking at something for what it is and trying to like put the pieces together. Because when we talk about extraterrestrial life, when we talk about other worlds, we don't really know that much. We don't. We've observed a bit. We understand how certain planets are formed. We understand how certain things, we understand what physics are. Very limited, and I feel we're very cocky and being a little too arrogant about this, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. What was it doing here and why did it stay? Like, how did it get left
Good
here?
question.
Like, I just
Mm-hmm.
why was it here to be found? And it looks like it's like covered in dirt, like it was like pulled out of dirt in the ground, like someone dug it up kind of thing. And why does it not decompose? Like this is fucking bullshit, honestly. It's if it's 1,000 years old, is it bones? Like what am I looking at there? It looks a little bit more like more of a face than just bones. Like, oh, just the alien doesn't decompose. Like it's not. We're not looking at bones of fingers. Like three little finger bones. Like, what the fuck are we looking at? Are you telling me that their bodies are so different that they don't? They don't. Do we even know if they have bones?
Well,
Like,
do
come
you know
on. I'm so sick of this shit.
one one of the earliest stages of like formation of life on this planet was during the age of the dinosaurs, when dinosaurs started coming to prominence. So I had this thought earlier, and I didn't even tell you this. Like, imagine if they were like lizards and they shed their skin. What if all you're looking at was dead skin, or I don't know, some shit, or maybe it's maybe this is gonna blow people's mind. Maybe it's pottery. Anybody ever think about that?
It is just like something that someone made. We have no way to determine that it was ever living. Like it's like how do you know that it's not just
It may
something
be,
that was like created?
pottery. Like, if anybody's curious, you ever look at Aztec, the way that Inca Aztec, the way that they carve stone and they built their pyramids and their structures, and it's just beautiful. But they're around now, they still exist, and it's like somebody could have made this clay thing of a person, and it could have just gotten dug up, got debris over it over thousands of years, and all we're looking at is two really good preserved clay idols.
Yet it's put on like every single news like outlet in the same exact way. Like don't different places have their own writers? You know? Like they hire different people who work for these places and it's
Supposedly,
their
they have different
job
writers.
to write an article. Like I don't know. You got npr.org, and that would be like where it comes from. And it's like, remember during the pandemic when they just went so hardcore with fake news? And then they let something come out like this, where it's like you don't even have any actual like backup for anything that's being said. So it could all just be completely fake, but nobody is going to take any time to stop it from getting on every single outlet.
It's all about clickbait. I mean, it's kind of what the funniest thing that nobody realized about this whole thing that I just realized right now. You would think an event like this would stir like an uproar, like pure uproar, but for some reason it's all contained in Mexico. So people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Mihata, there's a few other scientists, astrophysicists, I haven't heard anything from them. Have you heard anything from them?
Well, I don't watch the news, but no, I haven't heard anything from any of them.
But generally, something this big, you'd hear something from a scientist. Like,
no one cares. It's so weird. It's just
why?
like nobody, because none of us can believe it, is my first guess. I mean, I don't have a real answer for that, but it's because
maybe they know something that we don't. Maybe they know it's bullshit, and that's why they haven't said anything.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he is like the anti-alien of them all. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson will fight with you to prove that aliens are not real. So
he'll fight with you to prove. When was the last time he was like fighting with people to prove that aliens aren't real?
He spoke with a biologist about a year and a half ago. I remember listening on to his podcast, which is called Star Talk. Anybody that's geeky out there and wants to learn more about the cosmos, he does a podcast and he interviews all these really interesting people. And on the podcast, he was talking about extraterrestrial life. And he did bring up a really excellent point. He mentioned that the amount of distance that we have between different planets in different galaxies, he said, what are the chances of these species even knowing that we exist? They may be, he was like saying, you know, theoretically, if they are billions of light years away, how do we know that they're there? How do they know we're there? You know, or we're here? So that was
I love that we always assume that they're more intelligent than we are. Like, it's like, that's always the assumption, is that like aliens are, you know, going to be smarter than us.
Do you know why?
So they're the ones that could find us.
Do you know why?
No.
Because when you look at a star, what are you looking at?
I'll use like an old image of the star.
Bingo. That's why. So we may be, I know this is a little bit of a mind twister, but just hold on to your fucking undies just for a fucking minute. Just hold on. We're in the past, and they may be in the future. You catch my drift in regards to traveling back and forth?
Yeah, I get it.
So they're way more like, I mean, talking about like if you were going to travel, the time you got there, they're probably millions of years older than we are at that point. That's what I was getting at. Sorry.
No, I get it. It's just like
alien podcast. Love this.
What did the aliens send some dead bodies in a capsule here just to get them here? Like, or did they die on the way here? Or, you know, why is the pregnancy not go full term? Why is it just like die inside? You know,
there was I'm sorry if I apologize for
but like also if there's a pregnancy in there, that gives us like a lot of information because we can look at the way that it is growing, you know, and compare it to the actual like full grown thing. Like that's like all kinds of information there to be able to figure out. That's just absolutely stupid. Like
you took the words right out of my mouth.
Any of this crap, like it's just like no, like man, I don't even know what to say. Like I'm just like so ugh.
There was an episode of Star Trek Voyager. So Star Trek Voyager was the one that was in the quite a distant future, and they got stuck, and they would like it almost took them about 67 years to get back home. That's how far distance they were, just that many light years away. And in one of the episodes, they run into a observer ship, okay, with this skeleton crew of just a few people, and they got lost, and their home was like billions. It was just so far away. And I remember in the episode, it was like kind of horrifying to hear this. He was like telling her, he's like, our home is so far away. We don't have a home. The stars are our home. It was like, you know, when I heard that, it kind of put a little bit in my mind, like, the universe is so big. Can you imagine if like an observer ship, like a spacecraft got lost? Like they might not even know that we exist and they may have crashed here. I don't know. I'm just throwing that as an example. They intercourse with Earth or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, there could be like some type of gravitational pull.
pull. Yeah, because we have a magnetic field because we are a terrestrial planet. That is true. Good point, by the way.
The other thing that comes to mind is that like the concept of aliens have been used for entertainment for a long time.
I love it. Like the movie Alien, one of my favorite psychological thrillers is Alien.
It is incredible, yeah.
I
And the
love
alien impregnates the woman.
It's terrifying.
What I'm trying to say is that it's just quite possible that this whole thing is just some type of entertainment. You know, because like aliens have been like used for entertainment. The concept of them been used for entertainment for a long time. Like
it was James Cameron that made Alien.
Yeah, absolutely.
With what's her name?
Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver. I personally, as a movie lover and as an artist, I feel Alien is one of my favorite depictions of aliens because I know it's terrifying. It's like, what if that is what they are? You know, like, think about it. You know, imagine a species that is just alive on this toxic breeding ground, and they develop these, like, skeletal, like, muscular bodies, you know, and then, like, their insides is just pure acid.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But, like, I don't know the name of the artist, but the artist is incredible. And he created, like, an entire world and created, like, a whole, like, system so that it could be, like, foolproof and not have any plot holes. You know what I mean? But, like, that's what I'm saying. It's created by an artist.
Oh, my God.
An artist created the concept. Like, you know, it's like, it's created. It's an art form. It's something that someone on Earth came up with.
It's a great depiction. It really is.
It is. It's really, really cool, but it's fictional. You know, like it's
I don't
fake.
care though, but I love it.
No, I mean, it doesn't like. But I'm saying like, it's made up. You know, like it's something that a human being came up with, and so like, doesn't that prove that you know a human being could have just came up with this shit too? Like the big thing that everybody, you know, talks about, especially when they talk about proving that aliens are real, is 1947. After Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the nuclear bombs were dropped in 45. Supposedly, after that, you know, 47 supposedly was the very first time that there was an observable spacecraft that was captured and posted, and I think it was written in an article or something. I don't remember the exact details. And that's like when that whole thing started. The part about aliens that I care about, and I totally agree with your point, the part of the aliens that I care about is what human beings take with it, like Alien, you know, or like Predator, or like Star Trek, you know, or Star Wars, or something like. I mean, there's so many. What was The Fifth Element is another one that I can think of. It's beautiful.
Oh,
yeah.
The Fifth Element was amazing. Thank you, by the way. Thanks to this wonderful gal over here, I watched that movie. She was like, you gotta watch. I'm like,
You have to watch it. It's exciting, you know? And I mean, in that world, all the aliens live in harmony, more or less.
Supposedly.
You know,
No spoilers.
there's the different alien worlds where the aliens are harmful. There's worlds where all the different types get along. Also, like, there's nothing that really determines that those little three-fingered things aren't from Earth. You know, like, how do you know that, like, they came from a different place? Like, what if they're just, like, another form of, like, a caveman or, like, a species that, like, lived here? Like, you tell me that's not just, like, some extinct woolly mammoth. Like, how do you freaking know that it's an object from a whole other planet? How do you know that?
Well, we know, and we talked about this before, there is a phenomenon of dwarfism that takes place on islands because of the isolation. So animals become smaller, and so do people. So hobbit-like people have been discovered people, like if you're watching YouTube, they're probably about that big. It's about 2 feet, almost 3 feet, so they may be a little bit bigger, but small people have existed. It's a real thing, so you bring up, oh my God, I fucking love you. This is why we got to do more extraterrestrial shit, because we know our stuff. But yeah, I mean, they could just be humanoids. They could just be from our planet.
Yeah, I mean, they had to specifically say, like, this is not a mummy because it looks a lot like a mummy, I don't know. What has gone wrong with my camera? Why am I like...
Hey, it's Dave, and I quickly just wanted to jump in and say, if you've been enjoying the podcast and enjoying this episode, if you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, that'll be so greatly appreciated. Because here's the thing. Someone might read that review and make the choice if they want to listen to the podcast. You get to help grow this podcast with us. How fucking cool is that? Let's jump back to today's episode.
Completely bleached out.
I have no idea, but it's great for the Halloween season. This Halloween.
But it wasn't like that like 10
Halloween.
seconds ago.
Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know. I didn't do anything. I'm kind of like weirded out by it though.
You can lower the light. There's a plus and minus on the back of it.
Well, like maybe that'll help. I feel like I'm just gonna bleach out again soon.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
you know what I noticed about this is that it's already taken up 40 minutes of our podcast, right? I'm not complaining.
I love
But
it.
I'm saying, like, just look at that. Look at the fact that we could have been talking about something else, but instead we're spending all of our time talking about this. Oh, could that be magnified on a bigger level where people could maybe be talking about this instead of talking about other things that they might maybe be talking about instead? Like, I don't know, like maybe like your own personal health. You're like how have you been, David? How's your life? How have you been?
Whoa. Okay. Wow. That was turn of events. When we talk about curtains opening, flies wild. Shit. It's like when
I don't know. I can start with myself.
No, I mean,
how have you been, Chris?
Wow.
I've been okay. Going through like a huge life transition.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
I moved across the country.
Whoa.
It's really easy for this kind of stuff to take away your focus on your own self, your own health, your friendships, your relationships.
I wanted to talk about, I think it was important to talk about because it really...
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about it.
But you do bring up an excellent point where a lot of the times we don't spend the time talking about our personal selves and being open. Like, I guess have been going through personal life changes. I mean, I took on a second job and podcast. I have a lot of stuff to do, and I have a lot of things to learn and a lot of things to clearly see, fully. I think one of the hardest things, maybe it's my age or just the period of the life that I'm in, is I'm starting to have more clarity, but it's a very slow clarity. Very high thought, but yeah.
Slow clarity.
Slow clarity, yes.
You feel like you have more clarity than you used to.
Well, I did an interview recently. Shout out to Daniel Thomas. Yes. I'm always getting names mixed up. Sorry. He lives out in Germany. I think it's called Lion Fury Productions, and he hosts a podcast. I really changed the name. I can't remember. Anyway, that's not the point I was trying to get to. He was telling me, like, for a person my age, that, like, I don't even like bringing this up, but I feel in many ways that's where the problem lies. Yes, I am 24. Yes, I am very young. But I've dealt with a lot of stuff. Experienced a lot. I mean, we've experienced a lot together.
I forget how young you are all the time. Like, I can't... It doesn't seem realistic to me at all. But, I forget how old I am all the time, too.
I mean, I think this is an important thing that I want to touch on, is age is nothing but a number. And it's more than that because the way your health, your exercise, your diet, like personally right now, all of that is trash right now. It's complete garbage. Like my health, my mental is just completely down the drain. And I'm trying to be able to put the pieces back together. And it could sometimes be very slow. And I feel like we can kind of relate with this, where you're taking a break from life for a bit, trying to be able to come to grounds. Shit's hard, my man. Fucking difficult. Sorry.
No, I've been rereading the book Fight Club, and one of the things that I really noticed from Fight Club is there was one part where he said, like, only when you hit rock bottom are you free to do anything. So
You
it's
mentioned
almost
that on the
like,
last episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost like not being in a shitty place holds us to things. So success in a way traps us. It's like because things are going well, we keep doing them or something like that. But I think like having commitments is a good thing. I got to meet the author yesterday. I got to meet Chuck Palahniuk, and I was very shy in front of him.
Oh, honey, you should have asked him a million questions. I would have asked
I
him a
didn't.
million.
I didn't.
I should have been
I
there.
couldn't.
I should have been there. I needed to. Honey, if I was there, how are you, my man? Oh my God, you're. Okay, listen, I got a question for you. There was a part of the book, just quickly. I just got something to say, just quickly. I would be there, but I totally get it. But that's really cool. You got to meet.
I was very shy in front of him. I listened to him talk about some things. He has a similar. Well, one of his favorite authors is Kurt Vonnegut Jr. I think, or Kurt Vonnegut, and that was one of my favorite authors growing up too. And it was interesting to hear him
Not know that.
compare himself to him. He said that he likes to write things that are over dramatized, over dramatic, unrealistic, something that is real life but bigger. I listened to a lot of the other questions that other people asked him, and just like he said that he was happy with the way that his books were turned into movies.
He was happy with Fight Club. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was like one
Yeah.
of those controversial topics. But you know what, to be honest, I barely remember the movie. I watched like half of it. I never finished it. But the parts that I do remember, it was good. Like you can feel the author's words, the way that the actors were portraying the characters. Like definitely if you watch Fight Club, none of that could ever happen in real life. Seriously.
No, though
None
people
of it.
like created fight clubs, like there were certain things that were realistic.
A lot of it is exaggerated. I mean, like, okay, so here's something that fun fact that you did not know about illegal underground fight clubs. There used to be something called Irish Night. So back in the day, they used to have those tough, Irish, immigrants, they came off, across the sea on Ellis Island, tough guys, right? And they would pin these guys into this pit and they would fight like until one of them was just like passed out. And some of these matches, I'm not kidding, like just stuff that I've like read, could take hours. So people were just drinking and 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 drinking. Turns out years later, they were just on drugs. So, like, the reason why these fighters were like fighting so good because they were on drugs.
Yeah, people on drugs have like some crazy human strength.
So,
and they don't like register the pain in the same way.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but you brought up an excellent point. The fact, like, it's over dramatic because, like, when you read something like Fight Club, it gives you something to look forward to. You're like, okay,
well, yeah,
you want to
like
to
be entertaining.
Yeah, exactly.
It's entertainment.
Dull and boring is not great for stoners.
It's reality turned into entertainment, like, like something like more exaggerated. When in the Fight Club, the he in the beginning kind of like goes into the basement and finds like this thing like written from like the human body's perspective. So he's like, I am Joe's beating heart. I am Joe's revenge. I am, blah 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 blah. And he'll like pop it back up at different times in the story. And then when he signed my book yesterday, it said, I am Carissa's book. And it just made me so happy. And I assume that's just how he signs the Fight Club books, but it meant a lot to me because I like that in the book. I think it's so strange, and I think it takes a lot of bravery and strength to write something like that in a book that you don't really know if other people will understand or care or appreciate. I mean, it's just the balls that it takes to write an entire book wondering if anyone will even understand it. Will people even appreciate this? Will this be too weird for people to like get? And then all of a sudden it's translated into something that's a movie that the entire world and country watches. Like it's just like, damn, like how did you know? And what a risk to take. And I had a good day yesterday going to the book
I've
signing, and
I've noticed just a little. I mean,
yeah.
there's no hint that was given in the past
Yeah,
five
yeah,
six
yeah.
minutes.
I couldn't not
Yeah,
talk about it. Like I'm
no, of
like,
course not.
no, it was really cool. He was barefoot.
Oh, okay. More
He just like
detail.
wore no shoes.
Oh, okay.
Huh?
Toes out, hair
Toes
sticking
out
up.
on the carpet,
Oh
like
yeah.
no like worry whatsoever. He said he took like a benzodiazepam or something so that he could like talk to like all those people. He was very talkative. He had a lot to say.
Wow.
It was pretty neat.
Good thing I wasn't there
I
because I would be chatting for hours.
I don't know. I mean, there were things that I wanted to ask him, but like I would rather talk to him without a bunch of people around,
Oh,
is what I noticed. Like it's like I want to talk to him, but like I don't want to talk to him with like all these people around. I don't know. I guess I got kind of shy.
you remind me of like honestly, like I would be the kind of person if I ever had the opportunity, ever in my lifetime, the opportunity to meet Paul McCartney. Okay. I totally feel you on that. But like, I can't be the person that's like, hey, Paul, I know like you're 84 and change and like have like just years of making music and like thousands of people have bombarded you. Can I like move you to this private room that'll just take 15 minutes of your time to talk to you? It's like, maybe it's just my personal mind thinking. I can't think of like asking such a thing. You feel me?
I could there were so many questions that I don't even know which ones to answer to ask.
Right. You just get like
And
all
also it's
congested and
like
shit.
I
Yeah.
want to talk to somebody who wants to talk to me. Like does
Oh,
he I mean he's there, so he must want to talk to the fans or something like that. But like it's like I don't know, like I don't want to just be like badgering you with questions. But then it was like after I left, I was like, I wanted to just be like, what's your favorite food?
oh my
Just like
god.
dumb questions, just like, I don't know. Like, it's like, I don't want to just ask a question or two. Like, I'd like to get to know the person, gosh, I'm like shaking just like thinking about it. I
Oh,
couldn't
and
believe it. Like,
my
it
my
was like
my my brain is flashing right now like an old fashioned fax machine.
meeting someone who's just like unreal.
It's it's really amazing. I mean, just recapping for a moment, the breeze through extraterrestrial life and aliens, and then talking about our personal shit. I seriously like this is number one, hands down, the reason why American Groove is just like the fun dig, because like we don't know where the fuck this is going. It's like it could be
Well, yeah.
aliens, it could be about your mom, it could be about your mom's boyfriend, it could be about your mom's boyfriend's sister,
But
or your
that's
mom's
why I
boyfriend's
brought this
uncle
up. I brought it up because it's like,
or pet.
okay, so we don't know anything about these aliens, right? Like we don't even know if
Oh
they
shit!
are aliens, right? But what we do have
Could be pottery.
is a very talented author. Like look at the amazing things that human beings can do. And look at what is that? That's fiction that he's created. It's an entire story created by a human, and it's like
Through a
it's
human's
all just
perspective.
fiction. So like look at what human beings are capable of, like, and at what we're going to just like focus all of our time on like an alien that we don't know anything about, or and no one's going to tell us anything about it either. Like they're just going to tell us like little weird facts that kind of like freak you out, like 3 fingers and no teeth.
But
Like
at least though with Fight Club, the writer has been openly, he said it, that like he likes overly dramatic writing. So you know what you're getting into when you read his book. Like you know what you're going to experience. It's kind of, all right, I'm gonna be one of those people who will do it. Stephen King. So the thing about Stephen King is the
quite a
love,
writer.
the love of God. He's not a horror writer. He's not a horror writer. He's never
No,
been a.
psychological thriller.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's when you know that, and when you read his books, like again, you know what you're walking in through. But like this whole alien story, I don't know what I'm walking into. I don't know what I'm going to expect. And like, it's not the fact that we've never experienced aliens before. It's just the way that it's being presented. It's that simple. Period.
I mean, like, I know that my parents grew up kind of hearing about aliens, like,
They had
and
Lost in Space when they were a kid. It's like aliens were the shit when. You gotta remember, like,
no, but there was apparently like, alien spaceship crash, like in
oh,
the 50s, 60s, like stuff like that. And people talked about it like being a possibility. And like my parents have gone like their whole lives and like nothing has ever really happened, like since then. And nothing changed about the way that they live their lives or like anything like that. There's a motivation here. And I really think that there's a motivation with it being
clearly.
from Mexico, because I think that they pump Mexico stuff like into the media like constantly because they
We
want us to be afraid of Mexico.
we like, I'm not saying us as people. My apologies. What I mean is, as a country, we have in a way infiltrated Mexico and literally created the cartel. It's that simple. Because of our restrictions and infringement, we made a great opportunity to make a deal with Mexico that just made the black market more juicy here in the United States. And we've been enjoying that luxury for the past, I don't know, 40 something years. I'm exaggerating and being a piece of shit. But my point is this. We've done this to Mexico. We've also done this to Canada. So I love Mexican people. I love Mexican sign. There's a lot of really great people that come out of Mexico, and it's an amazing place, especially for archaeological digs and so much more. But stuff like this, nope.
Well, I know that like a while back we had like an alien discussion before this type of thing came out in the news, and I know that one of the things that I had said is like, like where is it then? And so then like, oh, now they got a physical thing of it,
They never
So
told
it's
us where they
like
found it.
I know they don't, but they are growing on the story. The story is things are being added to it. It's growing, like slowly. So like I can imagine how long is it going to take? About like 3 more months before they like release like another thing that's kind of like, oh, like the story thickens. Like there's like more stuff to be seen and talk about, my other theory is that like they want to gain our trust. So like back in the day, people used to say, like, oh, well, the government's hiding aliens from us. So they think that like, oh, well, if, like we tell them about the aliens, then no one can say that we're hiding the aliens from them. And so like I would imagine they're trying to make themselves just more believable in general.
I want to bring this up just as an example. When we were leaving Afghanistan, I believe it was 2021 or 2022. I think it was 21, 22. I don't remember. But during that period, the whole thing with the vaccinations was full spread. That's all you heard on the media. It was kind of as if like no one wanted to talk about what was going on over there. There was a clear cover. And the thing is, nobody really understood that until after. Like now, if you look back, you're like, oh shit, that's really what happened. This is not, honey, these are not the first time these things have happened. Like the reason why we're talking about this, and I feel like I personally feel like why I've spent 40 minutes is pure awareness. A lot of people do not realize when you pull up your iPhone or your Android phone and you check Google, a lot of the articles you're reading, they're not real. And you realize that because when you start listening to actual doctors and scientists and spend time listening to podcasts with scientists and actual people that do this stuff for a living, you start
people like educated people won't take the time to claim something that they're not sure of.
Correct. But they will take on the challenge of something that they're knowledgeable on and they see the bullshit in. And the people that are able to stand up and be able to say something about that, that's important because it raises awareness for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's why we spend the time like talking about this kind of thing on the podcast, is just to like raise awareness, just to talk about it openly in a space that, you know, can be viewed by other people. I wonder what this type of news is like for people in other countries, you know, like how it compares in different ways.
Oh, that's fun. That's funny you bring it up because there was, you know, that India went to the moon recently. I don't know if you knew this. India has their own space program.
Dude, does everybody know that, or is it just me that doesn't know that because I don't watch the news?
No, I don't watch the news either, but what I love to do sometimes is go on Twitter, or I have some Facebook forums that I'll go on and I'll see some interesting things. Or one thing I like doing is, and this is one reason I love the Joe Rogan podcast, is he brings on really interesting people like scientists and doctors and writers and journalists, and you get to hear their perspective, you know, like, and then when you start doing a deeper dive into what they write, you kind of start to hear what these people that do this stuff for a living have to say about these things, you know. And what I love about what we both do is looking at different sides, you know, looking at the different perspective, because like it's not just about education. It's not even about awareness. It's just opening up your mind to sitting there and just saying, hey, what's going on?
What the fuck is going on?
What the actual fuck is going on? Yes, Carissa, thank you.
I don't know. It doesn't change anything in my life, you know, like that's what
No.
is. Yeah, I still have everything that I have to do, and I still have to care about myself, and I still have to care about the people around me, and like all these things, you know. It's just like,
Yeah.
what on earth am I? It's just kind of interesting, but I'll tell you, it is kind of terrifying at the same time. Like it really actually is scary. I don't know if anybody else wants to admit that, but I actually do find it quite terrifying. You know, like
I don't blame you. I mean, just the thought and the idea of that being a possibility is insane. You know, the strangest thing, especially like for me, is I love space. I always have since I was a kid, and I always have tried whenever I had the time, you know, to just sit down, read about what scientists have to say, and just the understanding of just like what is out there. Because I'm curious. I just am, you know. Yes, I got shit to do. Yes, I got a lot of stuff on my mind, but it's sometimes just something that's really enjoyable to look at because we have tons of light pollution and it's very hard to see the stars. So sometimes that's my way of trying to be able to see the universe. But
I was sent an article recently by the person that I'm seeing, and the article was talking about how basically people are having like a withdrawal, and they've created like a term for it. It's called like nostalgia or something. So it's like people are like nostalgic about stars, and that people are having like a withdrawal from like the actual night sky. Now, I know that back when I was younger, there were scientific studies that were done where they wanted to find out if the streetlights were harmful to the species of the earth. Basically, the frogs, the birds, you know, the bugs, like whatever. We need the frogs, the birds, the bugs, the
Oh
squirrels
yes,
in order to
spiders.
survive.
Spiders,
Yeah, we need all
especially in
that shit.
gardens.
So
Yeah.
they tried to do studies to figure out, you know, like, are these lights like harmful or whatever? And they did. They figured out that yes, they are harmful to the species. People are less likely to procreate with more light pollution. Not people, but they said that about animals. Like,
Yeah.
and that it makes them more unhealthy and like all these different things.
We
So there
touched
were
on light earlier.
certain communities where they took out the streetlights in different ways in order to improve the communities and make them like a healthier area. So, I mean, we just have more and more and more and more and more light. Like, it's just like absolutely insane. So, like, you have to know that we're just becoming more and more and more unhealthy. I know that the man that I used to nanny for, he was a doctor, and the children that he had, he was very, very concerned about them being exposed to blue light. He said that blue light will change the children's hormones and force them into having, they were girls, force them into having their periods earlier. So it is a
There's
scientific fact that generations are having their periods sooner. They're going into puberty sooner because of the blue light exposure.
there's
So, I mean, I've never read an official article about it, but like it's doctors talk about it.
there's a conspiracy. There's a bit of.
I don't know that it's just a conspiracy.
It's
Like,
not
I think that
necessarily
there's
conspiracy.
something there too.
There are other theories revolving around that, because the idea is light, especially as humans, we use light to be able to protrude out our way of seeing sight. The more light we have pouring into our eyes, the more that we can see. And when you have too much light that comes towards your eyes, you almost become blinded. You have to go away. Like, for example, when the sun is blaring at you. So, but we as humans over time have been programmed with light. So when it's light out, we would work on the fields or do whatever. And then as it would go dark, we would start to wind down, and we would focus more on fires and coming together, warming up, making our food, going to sleep together, because there's no light. In a way, light pollution has made us reliant of something that we never were reliant on before as a species. We're forced that when it's dark, that's when you stop. We don't do that anymore. Like, it could be 2 a.m. right now in the morning. Do you know the difference? If it's 11 o'clock, it's 11 p.m., and then it's 2 a.m., and there's lights all over the street, it's going to look the same. But if there's no light, you can see the stars change. So you got to remember, our ancestors, when there's no light pollution, they saw all the stars. So they saw them going back and forth. And they'd use that to calculate their calendars. People realized, oh, the moon moves different places. So they would start calculating the moon. And they would start...
Well, like, all the light pollution makes us disoriented in general.
Yes. I mean...
separates us from one another.
I feel
all the light pollution makes us more productive, possibly. But the thing is like, people who don't get rest are actually less productive. You know?
It's a good point. It is a good point. But I don't know. I mean, it's just... We do have to understand that there are always pros and cons that come with advancement. Like, it is a great time to be alive right now. You know, better than being alive 20 or 30 years ago. I mean, just think about it. But with that, you know, there's got to be a way to, maybe for me personally, try to overcome and realize that this is our planet. This is our home. And in the end of the day, like, we come from this. We formed from whatever's up in that sky. It's how our minds kind of developed this idea of resting to regain energy. All of this, like, just think about how important, like, for God's sake, I work in a corporate office that's all about getting supplies out for people that have a problem with their respiratory system where their throat closes because of sleep apnea. And because they get terrible sleep, they can't function the next day. Isn't that interesting?
There's an entire company that just functions off of people not being able to sleep.
But the point that we as humans, if we don't regain our energy, if we don't rest properly, we're not, like you mentioned, we're non-functional. It's, when the light goes away and there's darkness, there's a part of our brain that kind of clicks in. That's like, okay, it's time to wind down and go to sleep now. It's like our, I guess, circadian rhythm. There's just a part of our brain that kicks in. And I think it's because of how we've interacted with the skies as a species for thousands of years. We've kind of lost that. Sorry, I just blabbed for like 4 minutes about light pollution. Whoa.
No, you're good. It's just like, what is being done to counteract it?
Nothing. They won't change it.
Yeah.
Because they view it as a safety hazard. See, I'm going to... If you want to elaborate more on this, you can. I remember driving down one of the streets down here in South Florida, and I was in Lauderdale Lakes, and I was driving down, I think it was Commercial Boulevard, and I was just like looking at the street, and I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, if they just took away one lane, made sidewalks wider, put some trees, and like put a path for bikes, and like they remove the center and like put a way for a tram or something to go through. I was like, bro, this could really be a better system. It could really make people realize, holy shit. But there's a ways of counteracting light pollution. You know what that is? Making streets smaller, making highways narrower. But that stuff ain't.
Each car has headlights.
They've done they did a study on this. The narrower the lane is, the better people drive. And the benefit is, if you have narrow lanes in major areas and you add in train system and busways, you add in multiple ways that people can travel. So you have less traffic. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of traffic, but nothing too heavy, because you have people that used to be driving that are now taking the train, and people that were just taking short trips, no longer taking their cars because they have a great bike lane to go through. This stuff has been studied. The stuff has been proven to work. I remember I was in Massachusetts. I'll never forget this, Mass. It was outside of Boston. There was this neighborhood that they did this reconstruction where they basically put transit goes in the middle. They had cars on either side, and they had bus lanes. And I remember, like, it was 5:00 in the afternoon, and it was a little bit of traffic, like nothing too crazy. And it was just so smooth. People were riding their bikes, people were on their sidewalks, people were getting up in and out of the buses, and I was like, whoa, this is really amazing.
What bothers me is that I feel like so much of the things that I say are speculation. But it's like, I almost feel like I'm trained to not say things because I'm not sure if they're true or not. And it's like, why not? Why not just say them?
From what I've heard, our intertwinement with the skies is, in a way, are very part of our nature. From what I have heard, from what I've read, I mean, why were star maps created? Why were astronomers veered and, considered so important? Like, why was this stuff so important to ancient history? Just looking back, why? And the reason
because
is...
it's like what they had.
Exactly.
Like, they didn't have all the other shit.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like, and
what they relied on.
Working out kind of okay.
But we've created this artificial way of living. And again, there are pros and cons to this. Like you said, we get to be more productive. I get to work, longer hours. Of course, trying to manage your sleep is always important to get good sleep. But it's allowed us to be able to spend more of our time, be able to do things late at night if you want to, just have a good time. But again, there's always cons that comes with things. And I like to look at things like that, where there's a negative and there's a positive. And if you know that there's a negative, you understand what the positive. So if you're able to accept both of those, you're able to accept it for what it is, right? And we hope it'll get better, but we're not the people that are going to change it.
Yeah. I mean, negative and positive is a man-made outlook. It's something that we do where we want to say,
Correct.
This is compared to that. And it's like we're all like pretty hung up on trying to be positive, which is like great, it really is better for you. But like it's still this like kind of way of thinking that doesn't actually have to be there. Like you can just look at everything as it is. It doesn't have to be negative or positive, like
it's just that the reason can I give you an example? Oh,
no.
Oh, damn. Oh my God. Okay. When you I recently ran into, and I'm not going to go into much detail. I'm going to be very I'm just have to be a little quiet about this. I recently ran into the opportunity of working a second job and going back into kitchens. And this, I haven't been back in kitchens since like 2019. I swore it off. I was like, no, I'm never doing this again. I love it. There's the pro of it. I love being a part of it. My father was Moroccan and he loved cooking. He learned it from his mother. And my dad passed it on to me. He passed it on to Mac. He passed that on to all of us. That's the pro. Again, through my perspective. The con is, the reason why I went away from it is because it's hard work. It takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of passion that comes with it. So you're right. It is a man-made thing that we do, creating like those comparisons.
I think it also takes intelligence to be able to differentiate between like pros and cons.
Yeah, true.
We are intelligent beings.
Yeah.
Like we can look at sometimes that's a really good tool to be able to make like a pro and con list, to be able to like make your decisions, Yeah,
that's true. But I don't necessarily always look at the con with like a frown. I feel that even with all the noise and ruckus that goes on, there's so much that you can enjoy and love with life, even with the little money that you have or the little time that you have to spend. Just spending time with people, enjoying life when you have those opportunities. I look forward to those. I love interacting with people, learning new things, gaining new skills. I just feel it's just so important. It's just such an important part of just being a human being.
Human being.
Okay, we're not going to start singing. I'm too tired.
Is it time to wrap up this podcast?
If you want to. Wow. Shit. Well, ladies and gents, we talked about aliens and personal shit. Light pollution, my favorite. Carissa's glamorous moment of meeting and interacting with the writer of Fight Club, and
who has a new book out right now.
Ooh, yes.
And so I believe it's called Not Forever, But For Now.
Ooh, nice title.
He just put it out. It's kind of all over. So I suggest it. I just got a copy of it. I'm going to try and read it a little bit. But I thought I'd do a little shout out,
Oh, for sure.
You want to check out the newest book.
I don't know what his socials are, but you definitely can find his books everywhere. Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, wherever your heart desires.
He's still doing book signings too, like if you want to try and catch him in your city. Yeah.
It's really, I think it's really cool when you interact with an author. You know, this podcast is all about artists. And I feel it's so important when you got the opportunity to meet any kind of artist. You know, if you're down here in South Florida and you meet, you know, Leia Simmons, you know, you meet Trippy Dubs, you meet After the Sunset, you know, any of these really cool artists that are down here. It's just a great opportunity. Like, you remember when you told me what he wrote in your book? This is
I'm Carissa's book.
I'm Carissa's book. Ah, I love that. That's the beauty about artists. We're fucked up and weird, but we're wonderful people that are ready to make incredible experiences.
Well, it's like look at the love that I have now and the joy that I get out of that experience and everything. It's like that is what art does. It creates feelings, you know? And for me, like, he is an artist, a writer, you know, writing is an art form, and it creates passion and love, and it connects people to one another. You know, like
you know what would be like so fucked up right now? If I use this as a pod clip and then I tagged him into the pod clip and I'll be like, bro, it's your chance to respond.
I don't know what his social media presence is like. Like, I don't know.
And think if he's smart, probably taking it to the...
He's smart. Like,
Yes.
we don't have to question. That was a fun one.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah, this definitely was a good one. Oh, and for anybody that's out there, if you want to be check out more of the podcast and learn what's going on and become a groovy listener, we have an Instagram page at Lost in the Groove Pod. You can find us on Facebook. Video version where we look fucked up and weird. Trust me, our lighting is terrible. We're on YouTube. YouTube at Lost in the Groove Pod as well. And what else? What else? Am I missing something?
Write us a review, man.
Oh my god, fucking A.
Yeah, tell me what you think of all this crazy shit, even if it's just like a couple words.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is an hour and 21 minutes, maybe longer. I don't even know. But we unpacked a lot in this episode. And there are things we may have missed, and I definitely have more things I want to talk about. But here's to you, aliens. We'll see you on the motherfucking other side. We love you all.
Peace on Earth.
Peace on Earth, baby. Please don't take us up to your spacecraft.